All right, we're back here on another episode of the DJK podcast, and today we have two of our construction managers with us. We have Daniels, Myles Sabrosky, and our topic today is really what it takes to be a construction manager here at DJK Custom Homes and what a typical day looks like for you guys as construction managers. So let's start off by chatting about what's a typical day look like for you guys out there in the field, managing all these high-end builds that we're managing and making sure that we're delivering on not only the client expectation, but our own expectations as well, kind of throughout the build process with the quality we strive for.
Yeah, day-to-day routines, they change drastically throughout every day throughout the week. Some days we already have something pre-planned where Jack and I are going to get to a job site specifically first thing in the morning, whether it be for quality control walks or just checking to see if the subs showed up the day before. Checking to see if they left any windows open, things like that. But a lot of it has to do with scheduling. So our main focus, I would say, throughout the days is making sure that the job sites have a good flow through them. The trades are showing up, materials are showing up when they need to. And with that proper flow, we're also usually checking to make sure the people that are coming down the line are prepared to come in to take over the project after the trade. So once the drywaller is about ready to be done, we already know we want to maybe get somebody to clean before they do the painting, things like that. So it's always trying to stay one step ahead, I would think, of all of the trades. As one of our biggest goals here is to always stay ahead of the build, ahead of the client communications, and especially ahead of trying to order materials.
Yeah, because in construction, I mean, every little process affects the next process. So you guys in the field, one of your main things is really making sure that processes stay as streamlined and on time as possible to make sure that the build could progress throughout.
Yeah, we always have typically 10 to 15 jobs going at a time. So there could be different stages that we're at where, we could be starting the dig, we can be at foundation, we can be at drywall, we can be at mechanicals. And then towards the end, we'll start QCing, making sure that we're getting all the trim and doors in and all that.
What would you say the, toughest stage of the build is for us or, from a client expectation standpoint? Obviously, you mentioned there's different stages, whether on concrete phase or mechanicals or framing. What would you say, what are those key phases throughout the process where it really requires the most time, dedication, and kind of that keen eye?
It'll be interesting to see what Myles says, but I would say probably the last 30 days of a home, the final, just the
crunch time.
Yeah, crunch time, pretty much. Just getting the house to 100%. The fine details and making sure guys are coming in, doing our QCs, they're doing their QCs, our trades, and that's probably what I'd say. How about you, Myles?
I would say close to the same thing. It seems to me that as soon as we have our millwork installed, that's when the fine-tuning of quality control really starts taking place. Of course, from the time we go out and we lay out the stakes to dig the foundation already, we're doing our quality control on each step of the way, and we're making sure that by the time we get to that last 30 days or so that we really have taken care of all the loose ends. Anything that's not right was being addressed at that point in time, but it's right at, for me, it's right when the millwork phase is just coming to a close, when the house is almost at its dirtiest and unkept look. It's getting it from that aspect to the final close to when the homeowners are coming in on closing day and they're just wowed by what we have just went through to get them there. So that last 30 days for me too is probably the most critical, where we are spending that massive amount of energy between the two of us, going and checking on all the job sites, making sure the trades have everything they need to wrap the place up and get it to the closing stage.
And obviously, dealing with such a custom high-end product like we're doing, there's moving targets throughout the build, whether it's selections, client looking to see how things fit together. There's all those moving targets throughout the build that really affect you guys in the field, and so overcoming those hurdles is a big part of your job. What would you say some examples of hurdles that you wind up having to overcome throughout the typical build.
We have hurdles all the time.
All
We
the
have the
time.
daily hurdles that are not, there's something simple that we can handle real quick, and there's something that are more involved where, multiple trades have to be involved, and getting them all on the same page to make the product 100%.
Yeah, because none of us are perfect, and even though we do these the trades in specific, even though some of these people are doing these things every day, there are issues that happen, and if one trade makes a mistake and doesn't catch that, and then or if we don't catch that, then that trickles downhill and then affects other trades as well that are coming in behind them. So it is. The hurdles that, like Jack said, that we're jumping over, they can be really small, but if we're not continuously jumping over those hurdles to make sure they're getting accomplished, by the time we get towards the end of it, those hurdles are high
100%.
Everything
Yeah.
snowballs.
Yeah,
I mean, say you have an electric rough-in or something for low voltage lighting behind the wall, and doesn't get installed right, and we go to the drywall stage, we insulate prior to drywall, we paint the wall, we install nice millwork on the wall, and then you notice that, hey, this didn't get installed. Then it's you're tearing everything apart to rectify it at that time. But that's why we're always so critical. That's why quality control is like one of the biggest parts of your job out there in the field. Is always keeping your eyes wide open, always checking Buildertrend that we use from a software standpoint. I guess Buildertrend, let's touch on that a little bit. From obviously you guys are out there in the field daily. Tools that you guys are using to manage these jobs. Buildertrend's a big one.
Yeah, so we use Buildertrend, when the trades are there for selections, obviously, and we can go in there, different styles of everything. There's different finishes in the concrete, different finishes in the millwork, and just overall throughout the whole build. So we go in there to make sure that the client is getting what they selected.
Yeah, because the Buildertrend software in itself is so critical to the way DJK operates as a company, all the way from the very beginning of the build, all the documentation for permitting and plots and the selections all get put into that Buildertrend. So all of the trade partners, even the homeowners, have access to it throughout the build, and it's so important to actually stay on top of the Buildertrend program, because right when we're going in and we're putting in the stakes, so even before that, we're going in and creating an actual schedule, which the company DJK has worked diligently to template. So once we get an active build going, like we would pull up one of the build templates, and it already has, from going in permitting phases into the next step, all the way down to the final day that the house is being built, which allows us to, we're scheduling the staking of the excavation or the survey crew to come stake the property at the very beginning, and then through Buildertrend, we're scheduling the trades to then dig it, and then with Buildertrend, we're also utilizing the photo albums that are shared between the clients and also trades and the DJK team too. So like we're going in, we're staking the property, we're going out and taking photos of the stakes, and we're taking photos of every square foot of the property, putting it into Buildertrend as a document, and then going forward at each stage, putting the pictures in Buildertrend, sending schedules out through there. And one of our big things that we like using is to-dos and Buildertrend. So at any stage of the build, if one of us or any of the project managers or anyone at DJK happens to see something that is out of the ordinary or not correct, or it just isn't right, then take a picture of that, upload it into the to-do folder, and then it goes out to the trade that is involved with that, because they will be tagged in it, and it is able to track. Anyone in the company can open up the Buildertrend and find out what is going on at every single job site throughout the build from start to finish, and so Buildertrend in itself is a game changer for us.
There's so much functionality to Buildertrend.
Yeah.
Well, I always harp on you guys, even photos, right? Because the rest of the team relies on, what's happening in the field.
Yeah.
I might not be out on the job site every day, but here
Oh,
in
yeah.
the office, I'm able to quickly look.
It's
And
definitely a nice tool for the whole team to utilize.
And like Kevin mentioned before, if we're doing some low voltage wiring, something like that, and they bury it and it's behind the drywall, and then we get way down the road and we're thinking, well, did we install that, or what stud bay is it in? So we're not cutting the whole wall open to find one wire through a conduit or something like that. We have the Buildertrend software, which is where we're going through it every stage of the build, and we're taking pictures. So like we just go into the mechanical pre-installation folder and zoom through until we get to the room where we have an issue, and even if it's not an issue, just out of curiosity, and then you could see what's behind the drywall or what's behind the tile, things like that, and then you know exactly where something was missed.
Yeah, it's definitely saved us a bunch of times throughout the build. We definitely have gone back and gone through pictures, and it helps us definitely.
Yeah, we've even had clients, come back to us after the build many years down the road and say like, hey, I'm looking to move this wall or looking to do this. It's like, we have all these photos that we took at all this different stages, whether it's, prior to installation or, after mechanicals. We have pictures of every little stage so we can tell the client, long down the road, like, hey, there's a, HVAC ductwork in that wall. There's a steel column in that wall, or that wall's load bearing. So photos, everything that that we kind of house in Buildertrend all has a purpose, whether it's the photos, the daily logs that we update our clients with, and then selections, Jack, like talk, I guess, on how we utilize selections as kind of that coordination point between our girls at Refined Design and, your construction managers in the field that are really bringing that from, selection or concept to reality in the field and making sure everything's installed.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, we can go through selections, and a lot of the times, our trades are capable of opening the selections too and seeing them on their end. So it's nice that they can obviously do that. So, but me and Miles will go in and make sure that, when the concrete guys are on there, that they're doing their California finish or a brush nickel. Or rush finish. Like I'm thinking about cabinets too over here, but even our cabinet selection, making sure that they sent out the right cabinets. There's maybe a time where the hood got sent out the wrong color, and we're able to call Riverton and say,
how many times you look at selections throughout the build? I mean, it's nonstop, right?
Oh yeah, nonstop, daily,
and it's daily, right? Looking to clarify things, whether it's, there's so many.
The way we're using the Buildertrend and even the view the selections, it's typically through our cell phones or on our iPads while we're in the field, on the job site, or sitting in the company vehicle, not driving, of course, checking the schedules or checking the selections right there. Everything is accessible through the cell phone on the app. So that is awesome that we can do that.
Yeah, and even down
it's
to
a good tool.
Our purchasing we do through Buildertrend. So all our trade contracts are through Buildertrend, where we're able to.
Yeah. There is just so much in selections.
Yeah.
Like
really is
a ton of stuff.
We're every little detail. Even if it was this room, right? Every little detail that's in this room would be in selections, and it's up to us, and it's up to our purchasing department to make sure that what is selected winds up at the job site, and winds up installed in the proper manner.
Yeah.
And that the client's happy at the end of the
There
day.
has been times when the right product is put into selections and the homeowners would sign off on that product, but then there's a slight miscommunication way down the chain with a manufacturer or the provider, and they might send us the wrong part, but we can use that selection and say, hey, like, this is what the homeowner signed off on. Here's a picture of it literally on Buildertrend. This is what we sent out to the manufacturer or, the supplier. So then we can also check with them to make sure we selected this, you shipped this. Where's the disconnect?
The nice thing about selections too with the trades is they're able to actually go on there, and if we've done the project before, we'll actually put it on Buildertrend in the selections where they can view it as like a boot bench. So they can actually view it and then build it, so they have the detail and what they need to do, and so that's a perk to it.
With all that we do in selections, we never have any issues come up, right? Yeah. No, we still
Those
have
are-
plenty of things that even though we're doing all these checks and balances throughout, there's still things that
There's
go
still
wrong.
things.
There's still
Yeah.
a door opening that gets framed to the wrong width or
100%.
whatnot. But it's everything that we have in the process to avoid as much of that as possible. When those things do come up, we always tell clients we'll have clients that come in mid build and they'll be having a meltdown that there was a wrong color island fixture or whatnot.
Yeah, I always tell homeowners, because we have that open door policy where we want you
Yeah.
to come in and check it out. But I always tell them, just know that during the build, there's things going wrong,
you're
and
gonna see
just
things
know that
Those hurdles.
Yeah,
We're-
we always say hey, can you imagine if you went and bought a Ford truck, right, and you went and watched it get built, something might come out wrong and they got to swap the part, bring a new part out, but at the end of the day, you get that nice shiny truck. But now building your custom home, we're literally inviting you into the factory. You can show up whenever the heck you want and see how everything's built. So, you see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we see all the processes that we have in place to make things flow as good as possible. And what really matters is when we do have something that comes out wrong or an issue happens, we're always addressing it, and we have an excellent team of trades and an excellent team at the company where we're quick to address things, and we're always have that mindset. If you see something that you have to question might be wrong, it's wrong, and you address it and you fix it. So that's a huge thing. Now, kind of let's chat a little bit about from a client interaction standpoint of managing these custom builds. What does that process look like? Obviously, the client's involved with our team early on in the process, whether it's with our sales
Much
team
earlier
up front,
than us.
right? Yeah. So you got our sales team up front, and they kind of go through the process, meet with Dan, who's going to lead them through that kind of structural design of their home, and then they wind up getting handed off to our refined design team while things are in permitting, and that refined design team really takes them through that process of picking out everything that they're putting into the home, picking out their exterior colors and everything. But once once permits are approved, that's when you guys get involved in the process as construction managers, and that's when the first excitement point in the build really is the
they're
outside.
usually eager to start because the
you're-
permitting process can take a while,
It can.
especially depending on what town and stuff like that.
Municipality, stormwater.
But yeah, once we're about to start dig, that's usually when Miles and I will start having communication with them.
We get a kickoff party going.
We
Yeah.
do a
Well,
celebration
fun.
dig.
Our big
real nice,
milestones
yeah.
in the build, the starting point.
Yeah. So we have at that we invite the client out,
Yeah.
champagne or I think
Yeah,
we
champagne
sometimes offer-
toast, and usually during that I kind of talk about the start of it. Right now we're gonna be digging.
And that's when Jack and I would get
Yeah.
to meet the clients.
answer any kind of questions. At that
Yeah.
time, usually the house has been staked, and usually the excavation machine's sitting there on site, and
Yeah.
they get that in the background.
That's
of the picture.
fun when the machines are there.
Yeah. What kind
Yeah.
of questions, at that first dig meeting, what are the questions that our clients are?
Usually
typical
when
asking.
when are you guys gonna be finished?
When are we moving in?
When are you
Almost.
guys gonna be done? How big's this hole gonna be?
No.
Where are you
Are you
putting
sure
all
this is the right
dirt?
size?
And it's kind of like the next steps throughout the build. And usually, we start the dig. Dig's usually 1 to 2 days, and
Yeah.
we do a soil test on every house, and that gets submitted to the city. And then the concrete guys are starting.
So, but during that initial, celebration dig too, and when we're getting to know these people, we get a little fun time to even do a little photo shoot with them,
Yeah. those are always
and
cool
kind
to
of
see.
just hype them up, and then we also talk about. We've already talked about this here, but the Buildertrend software. This is when we really start saying going forward, we're going to be giving you weekly logs, and we're going to be uploading the photos into whatever Builder's Trend section it may go into, like
phase of the build.
foundation and the dig and foundation section, and so on and so forth. So we get them excited about that process. We teach them, verbally, like this, how to get into the Buildertrend, how to see these things. We get their cell phone numbers. We create a small little group text between Jack and I and the homeowners themselves and with one of the design girls from the team
Yeah.
here at DJK. So that way, right off the bat, we're already on a group chat. We're already communicating, and it sets the job off pretty well, even in the dead of winter or the heat of the summer. We did our celebration dig last week when it was like 95 and not a cloud in the sky. And that was a little bit of a quicker one just because of, being out there in that intense heat.
Yeah.
But
so after the celebration dig, we obviously, the house gets dug, finally get to see the kind of foundation come to life. And then what we, have backfill stage, we move on to framing. But then following framing is kind of when it gets exciting again. You get to invite the client back on site. They've, I'm sure, already been on site a few times by that point to kind of check on progress. But that's really like that next milestone meeting where you invite the client on site.
Yeah.
Kind of what happens, what goes down at that meeting.
And we're calling that the mechanical walk, right? So we get the whole house framed. Not every scenario ends as good as we'd like it to with the windows installed already in the home and the roof on, right? Because depending on the weather of the day that you have a mechanical inspection installed, whether it's the raining, hot and sunny, middle of the winter, middle of the summer, when you're doing these mechanical walkthroughs. But that is a key point because we go from digging the foundation until the house is framed. And a lot of the people have a hard time envisioning when we're digging the hole what this giant framed structure is going to look like. And so the time spent between that phase and our mechanical walks, when the homeowners, if they even haven't seen the house in a while and they show up, they're just like, wow, the size and the scale of this place, it didn't look like it's going to be, this high, high end or this large when we were looking at it on the blueprint or on the rendering. So, and that process, it might take some time to get from the digging of the foundation to the mechanical walk, but that mechanical walk, like Kevin mentioned, is another giant milestone. So we get the whole place framed. We get all of the trades that are involved in the mechanical aspect of the home, all scheduled to be there on the same day, which is sometimes it's quite the feat to do, to get everybody there, and the homeowners themselves. So on the mechanical walk day, we might be there for 3 to 6 hours. It all depends on the size, the scale, and the complexity of the build, how much detail is going into it, and we're walking through the electricals and laying that out, the plumbing and the cabinetry, the door rough openings and the swings of the doors, and all everything you'd think of that's going into the house just about, except for the final decorations and paint and stain colors, because those are further down the road. But that mechanical walk is our second giant milestone.
Yeah. And then obviously, after the mechanical walk, there's a ton of work that the refined design team winds up doing because, at the mechanical walk, we're talking about, hey, you selected these cabinets. How do we want to uplight them? What do, all these different details that we're discussing. And then following that, it's kind of their job to get with all our trade partners and figure out any additional pricing or things like that to make sure that we can put a full scope of work together and get the guys out there in the field promptly after the mechanical walk to kind of rock and roll with things. From a mechanical standpoint, like it's an exciting part in the process, right? And that's when you're really seeing everything go in, but it's also the point where you're kind of same shell that you're seeing during that process. What else is kind of going on? Is there exterior work that's being started, or what else is happening during that phase?
Usually at that time, the concrete guys are probably starting to, pour the garages and porches at that time. We try to pour our basements early, doing open pours before we put
when we can.
the floors on, but in the wintertime kind of makes it difficult. But usually we're doing that, and usually the bricklayer is about to be starting, so that's usually the time when they're gonna start that if they got any brickwork going on. And then with bringing up the mechanicals again too, it's kind of nice to do it because our mechanical trades are there and they will give their ideas on, they'll walk the house. I see it all the time. Like the electrician will look up and be like, oh, I think you should add a couple can lights here. I think it's going to be dark in this area. So it's nice to get their expertise on that.
Yeah, and a lot of those trade partners that we're mentioning that are at these mechanical walks with us, they're guys that have worked with us for
Long
a
time.
long time. Like
Yeah.
electricians been with us probably 30 years since my dad started the company, right? And our flooring guy has been working with him forever.
Yeah.
Our HVAC guys, we've been with them for a long time. So it's like this core group of guys that we have. So it's always those same guys, that we're used to working with, and they know our product and they know our expectations, and we work, well for the clients together.
And that's actually too when I see a lot with the refined design team. They'll come in, and this is usually the first time they're seeing it in person.
Yeah.
So they're always coming up with ideas during the walk, and I feel like they're always doing some kind of changes with what they're gonna do in each room and stuff.
For the selections aspect.
No, it's definitely like an exciting turning point in the project.
It is.
Really kind of getting that roof on. And then from there, once we hit drywall stage, and that's really when a lot of the stuff starts happening, because by that time we're outside, installing siding, and they're really seeing like that rendering come to life. So from, obviously starting kind of at drywall stage, we've, passed the mechanical stage, and we're now drywalling the home and moving on to what does that next, 8 to 12 weeks look like after we've got all those mechanicals that we talked about at the walkthrough, and what's the next 8 to 12 weeks really look like on the build?
A lot of that is getting us into continuous quality control, because we've already framed the house and we've checked everything. We're making sure our walls are plumb, floors are as squeak free at that point as we can. We're going through the whole home. So, and then when we get it drywalled, that's when the homeowner and the trades, but the homeowners really see like this is what the home is really going to feel like and look like. And like Jack mentioned and Kevin mentioned, we have an open door policy. So the homeowners are able to come in quite frequently, whenever they want, typically, and tour the home. So from the time we're going to drywall phase all the way until the closing, there's so much that happens at the job. We're doing the drywall, we're priming, and then we're cleaning and we're checking everything, and then we're stocking the millwork, the cabinets, and the trim for everything. And then those are getting installed. And then we're immediately checking the quality control of the cabinets when they're installed, making sure, they're secure, they're level, there's no nicks and dings and scratches on them. And then we're protecting those too. So there's so many small little stages throughout the build that Jack and I are even hands-on involved in. If we're doing corner protection on cabinets to protect them throughout that phase, Jack and I are bringing the corner protection and tape for the trades to put on. Or if they're not there, we're putting them on just to keep the job rolling. But there's never seems to be a dull moment.
No.
During that 8 to 10.
There's always at least one couple trades at a time.
Yeah.
Almost every day there.
Yeah.
But definitely, like Myles said, with the quality control, there's like each stage, like there's always quality checks.
It's quality checking every time we enter the home. Even if we're not using the iPad that has the preloaded quality checklist in it, it's quality checklist no matter what. Whether it be you walk in, you see something, you take a picture of it, you send it to the trade, say, hey, can you check this? Can you fix this? Whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, it's always keeping kind of your
it's
eyes wide open
nonstop.
no matter what, right? You always go to a house for one thing, and you wind up dealing with another.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
you're like,
And
just like,
you just-
hey, this, like, I better get on the horn with this before it becomes an issue, or I better confirm, these things. And obviously, getting into like those stages, once you've got the cabinets coming into the house, there's a lot of detail then happening. So that's really when it comes, like when checking that selection scope really comes into play, because at that time, you might have, just rooms and rooms of cabinetry going. You might have a very detailed kitchen that you got to kind of check the specs of. Do we have a waterfall edge going in? Are the cabinets at the right height?
Yeah.
What's our flooring surface? We start checking maybe moisture content of the subfloor to make sure that's going to be where we need it. So there's all those little it's constant checks and balances throughout, and constant quality control. Because I'd say if, from a standpoint of like what your guys' main roles out there in the field are, really it's quality control, it's scheduling, it's client expectation and communication, and then along the term lines of scheduling, it's dealing with trades and trade expectations, and really just dealing with multiple personalities, and being able to talk to people and get things done, and be a good communicator.
And on that note, we also have to be positive and enthusiastic to the trades in a sense too. We have to motivate them, like, to give their best.
Yeah.
Because not everybody wakes up every day excited to maybe go tape drywall or go sand or go paint or lay tile. But so it's the job atmosphere, the team atmosphere that we're trying to spread around all the trades at DJK and our DJK.
And I feel
team
like we do have
itself.
that,
And
like on our job sites, like you see the guys are always have a pretty good positive attitude and willing, if something's messed up, willing to go out there. And, like I said, there's times where there's a couple trades involved and, the guy's like, okay, I'll go out there tomorrow. I'll fix that. And then you can come in after me. So all the guys will work together. We all have a pretty close relationship. A lot of the trades will text each other or even call each other because we've all been working together for some time.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, no, having the team environment for sure is a plus because, that's how we get things done, right? It's all being on the same team. Even when we tell our vendors, like, you guys are on our team. We're not two different, companies. We're all a team here, and we're all, doing the same comment. We're here for the same thing to deliver
I think it's all
quality home to our clients.
It's all about really, definitely like Myles said, like the attitude, having a good attitude. Because we're all, we make mistakes. People make mistakes, but it's, going there and making it right. And say, I messed that up. I'll be there tomorrow. Stuff like that. That goes a long way.
Yeah, and then staying, on schedule. Obviously, through the process, clients wind up adding quite a bit of, whether it's detail to the home, and some of that stuff winds up taking additional time. So another key role that you guys play is kind of client communication throughout the build. Obviously, we touched a little bit about how, how that client communication starts off. Now, kind of take us through like the client communication throughout the build and what your typical role in chatting with clients are and their expectations and
yeah.
And
So we through Buildertrend, we do our daily logs weekly, but we also have certain points in the build that we're going to give a schedule update. And so during those, we go through the schedule, make sure everything's tightened up, and we'll give the estimates there. And then if sometimes, customers can add things, and, that might add some time in the build, and we just update the schedule and we notify the homeowners.
Yeah, the communication in that regard.
Some of the homeowners like to be a little hands off to the point where maybe they live out of state, or even if they're local, they don't show up that often, and they kind of just build the house and we can't wait to move in. And then you have the opposite end of it where they love hearing the updates, and they love hearing, hey, tomorrow these guys are showing up, and then send them a quick picture of the progress, things like that, whether it be through that group text that we have with Jack and I and one of the selections girls that's assigned to that specific house, and then the homeowners together. So a lot of group text in the Buildertrend software. There are other times too, and we're just at the job site checking on our trades, checking on things, whether Jack and I are both there together or separately, and then the homeowners just show up, and then they just want to chit chat how are things going. And so we do spend a lot of time communicating with the clients, but as a like documentation aspect of it, Buildertrend is our main source for that. Doing the headline is called daily logs, but
it's really a weekly log. We wish they
weekly
to a weekly.
But they're
log.
pretty detailed.
Yeah,
You can do a detailed, like for example, like our daily logs are. We talk about what's happened that week and what's going to happen on next week, and sometimes even more like, hey, we got windows scheduled out middle of August. Just to give them a heads up on that. But they're pretty detailed logs on what's going on that week.
Client a real snapshot of what's going on at their home.
Yeah, and so it gives them that, and then added on some pictures attached to it too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And what would you say, like, obviously, as we talk through kind of staged out a build here, as we've moved from like, dig to mechanicals, and talked about drywall, talked about cabinets. Obviously, we're getting close to like the finish line of a build. Would you say the finish line, like the last 30 to 60 days, is that the like most exciting part in the process for the client because they're getting excited to move in? Or
Yeah, I would say so, because that last, like, even I still get shocked sometimes. That last 30 days, you see the house and it's just, there's so many guys coming in and so much stuff going on, and then like 20 days go by and the house is completely changed.
Oh yeah,
Like,
completely changed.
and it's like 20 days ago, this house was not even close to this.
Cardboard covered the floor with some debris on it. A little, we try to clean as much as possible. The trades are supposed to clean daily, but that's in itself is a battle. Yeah, the way a house would change from 30 days before closing till right at the last week is dramatic.
Yeah.
And especially that last week when the house is, considered move-in ready and we're ready to move in, we're in there doing the fine details with the blue paint on the walls, pictures of what we are marking, sending it out to the trades. And at that point, we're usually down to just the fine finishes. Everything else in the house is safe, up to our quality standards and up to the homeowner's quality standards that they're expecting to get from DJK, which is what we're trying to produce, is the best quality that is capable.
Yep.
From the material aspect, from the vendors down to the trades and the installation process. So,
yeah, I think we've kind of, I mean, our saying, when my dad started the company, was the differences in the details. We've always kind of lived by that, and we're just,
Oh yeah.
I mean, we hear from like trades and vendors all the time that we're like the one of the most detailed homes, because we just preach it all day long.
And I feel like we still to this day are always still trying to find ways to
improve.
Yeah, improve always. Like me and Miles will be in the field and we're like, oh, I think we should do it this way. I think it would, look a lot better. And and I know you're always thinking of things, always.
And to like that regard, you guys go through with your fine tooth comb and quality control these homes at the end. And we also have a third party that goes through kind of as, a check and balance to make sure, hey, to Jack Miles or one of our other two project managers, Mark and Andy,
inspector.
Jack and Miles do their job?
Yeah, did they do their job? Or and usually we're pretty happy, but
we need
even
to be quality controlled as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much detail that goes into a home that it really commands a couple of sets of eyes. I'll go on site, as you guys are kind of coming to the finish line. You guys always love when you see my truck pull up. Usually about 10 days before you really want me there, and I start nitpicking stuff. Stuff you guys were gonna already find when you did your walk.
12 hours before closing.
But yeah, it's all, having multiple eyes is key, because we, your eyes, the third party's eyes, and just and then obviously our trade vendors that we've worked with a long time that know our expectations of quality and what they're to deliver.
And even on the final delivery of the quality, as we're getting to that last almost 10 to 5 days in that ballpark range, each build kind of has been different, but at that point, we're inviting the homeowner in to do a client orientation walk.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to go, the house is almost fully finished. If not, it's fully finished, and we're looking for touch-ups. So we're going to invite the homeowners in and freely hand them blue tape. And, if you see anything in the house that needs a touch-up, cosmetic issues, anything, put tape on it. So we're allowing not only ourselves to quality control a third-party inspection company, but we're also allowing the homeowners to come in and really get personally involved in making sure we are delivering exactly what they want as far as the highest quality finishes that are possible too. So, we'll go through that final orientation walk. We're not only letting them check everything quality standpoint, but we're also teaching them to make sure that they know how to use the oven. Some of these ovens we're putting
just
in
the
are
orientation
really fancy.
of the home itself.
There's a lot of technology. I mean, you can cook a Thanksgiving dinner these days with your cell phone app. Just what you want, what you're putting in the oven, and it knows what you're going to bake and how long to bake it for.
Yeah.
So those little aspects in the orientation
and
walk.
even some of the mechanical.
Going over
how to operate an ERV.
Yes.
Clients probably never seen an ERV before.
And the difference in our filters,
changing
Some
filters,
people have
where
the
to get
half-inch filters, and
And that's another part of the project manager role. We're supposed to know the majority, almost everything about every trade that comes in, or
yeah.
every.
Oh, yeah.
We got to know the mechanicals. We need to know about electrical, about HVAC, about plumbing, about the furnace work. I said HVAC, but that is something that is very important because we at the orientation walk have to then teach the homeowners how to use their equipment and how the equipment is going to work and benefit the house in the long run, specifically the ERV system, how it's bringing in fresh air from the outside, filtering it, putting it into the furnace or AC, depending on what season it is, and then pulling out the stale air and exhausting that outside the home. That way, everything is fresh, and most homeowners, like Kevin said, don't know about those equipment.
yeah,
So,
we
but
just started
have to-
adding that to our orientation walk too, with
Yeah.
making sure when it does get those, humid days, like super, super humid, you actually want to turn the ERV system off.
Yeah, or have it in, there's some thermostats
Yeah.
that we offer that can actually
Yeah.
control that, where it has an outdoor sensor,
Yeah, some of
tell
those-
exactly how humid it is outside, and it'll, stop bringing in
it'll
that,
tell
that
itself
humid
when to
air.
use it.
in the-
So there's so much technology and even small little things that we're putting into our homes that the construction managers, we have to know all of that stuff,
Yeah.
but then we also
You
have
gotta
to
teach
then
it
teach the homeowners how to
client.
utilize it and how to maintain it over the lifespan of that they're at the house. So, and then going after that, we're at closing,
Yeah.
and the people are going through that big celebration day of like, wow, we just finished the house, we're closed. We're not stepping away. DJK is not stepping away from the homeowners anymore or the home, because we're offering a warranty. So we have a 10-year structural warranty and a 2-year general blanket warranty over the entire home. So we're getting the homeowners situated with the Buildertrend warranty portal at that orientation walk. So that way, when we're closed and we're done and the DJK team pulls away, they move in, they still have access in the Buildertrend to go in and upload issues if it arises, or even ask questions about how to use something, anything like that. But it also gives them the opportunity to let us know if something went wrong in the house, which could be a learning curve for us, because there's always building science to be learned and techniques to fine tune. But for 2 years, the homeowners has us right at the tip of their finger on
And they're
their cell phone
working
app.
directly with you guys as project managers, as
Directly
a
with
construction
us,
manager
yeah.
that manage that particular home. The reason we do that, obviously, the homes,
Yeah.
you built the homes, and also holds you accountable, right? Because you know that you're the ones
Yeah.
that are going to be warrantying the homes that you built. So,
Yeah.
if it's tightening that, door handle before closing, a little bit.
You'll find
A little
out
bit more, right, to make sure that those items don't wind up,
Yeah.
back in your lap in the warranty process.
Yeah.
Because if you have a process where, warranty is a separate thing, and you can kind of say like, okay, as construction manager, I've washed my hands of this, and now this is going to go off to the warranty
that
department. It's
doesn't
like,
happen.
now, the onus is on you to also kind of guide the client through that warranty process and try to get as few things, that come up in warranty as possible. But we always tell people, we're building an entire home. Like, you have things come up in a small car that you might buy, right? And we're building a
100%.
3, 4, 5,000 square foot structure involving many components. That's all was built out in the environment.
And the
there's
four
going to be
seasons of
things-
Mother
yeah.
Nature.
Yeah, I
Right,
think
installed.
that's the big issue is because we have the 4 seasons, the
Yeah.
dramatic seasons out
Dramatic.
here that
So
make the house shrink and expand.
and with the shrinking and expanding, that leads me to my next thought is once we're past the closing of the home, we have an 18-month drywall repair
That is
too
nice.
that we're offering. So not only are we doing the 2-year warranty of the general blanket of the house, anything that's going to go wrong, but we're also going to come back in after 18 months after the house has had 5 good seasons after closing of settling, expansion and contraction through the seasons to get to what we'd assume is the final resting spot of the home. Everything is settled. We're locked into place, and then we're coming back and we're doing drywall repairs if needed. Some houses really don't need anything to be touched up, but every once in a while you'll have a screw pop in a wall where something shrunk a little bit, and then you see the screw pop through. Drywall guy will come through and get that taken care of. But it's the accountability too, with our 2-year warranty, our 18-month after close, that we're going to come back and take care of those things. And then our communication between the project managers and the client throughout that 18 months. So a build process for Jack and I isn't that quick. It's a long run process, all the way up to 2 years after the build.
Yeah, it's really a relationship you're creating with
It
the
is.
client
We're involved
and
quite a
with
bit.
their home, where you're,
Oh yeah, definitely building relationships. That's for sure.
Well, no, I think this is a great conversation. Kind of walk the clients through, exactly what happens out there in the field, whether it's from, dealing with trades or kind of creating that relationship with the client and guiding them through the process. So I think it was a good conversation. Anything you guys want to?
Maybe we can get Buildertrend to sponsor this, because we said Buildertrend about 150 times.
We'll tell them.
Yeah.
Hey, appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you on the next episode.